Yo, what's up, YouTube? All right, so gonna be starting a Mini Cooper project here, getting this stuff sanded down and ready for paint. I'm gonna try to do a color match on this, and obviously we're gonna restore the headlights and the tail light here in another video, so stay tuned for that. But I just want you guys to get a before view before I start sanding. I'm gonna try to get everything sanded down and prepped and ready for paint. I'll also be putting some Bondo in here and trying to close up these holes. All right, stay tuned. All right, let's see what we can do here with getting this bumper off of here in order to get all the sanding done properly. I'm not entirely sure how these come out. Looks like this one's kind of broken. Kind of nervous about that. This was pre-assembled by someone else. This is the way I bought the car. Stay tuned for the transformation. Looks like we got some Phillips bits, Phillips screws. Well, that's a drywall screw. All right. I'm not gonna be able to get that off. All right, there is 2 clips. Okay, this looks like it locks up and then slides in. Let's see if this one does the same. Perfect. Pulls up on the outside and then slides out. So get those clips out. All right. Wires are still connected on this side. Be careful with yours, they'll probably all be connected. We're doing all new sensors and wires on this car. They all just have the push tabs. You're gonna push it in, release the tab. There's the bumper before we get started on sanding. There's the trunk lid. We'll go ahead and pull this trim off too, so that we can get all the cracks and crevices. Okay, so we have removed the trim and bumper along with the latch opener and closer, so stay tuned. We're gonna get started on sanding this thing down. We're gonna jump right into 60 grit on this to just knock it all down. I want it to be as much paint off as possible, and remember, this is the way I do it, not the way everybody does it. This is strictly a DIY project with me and my daughter, for my daughter. All right. well, y'all get the picture, so I'm not gonna have y'all watch through the whole process. I'm gonna go ahead and get this whole thing sanded down and get back to you. Okay, all the sanding's pretty much done. Just gotta finish masking off. I hit the Scotch-Brite in the little crevices. This is all down to primer, and all the gloss is gone. I'm probably gonna get this just a little bit more, do a full wipe down, and we'll get some primer on it. First coat of primer, sandable primer, just to get the inside kind of matching as well. We are gonna do a color change on this to do a color match. So let's see how this turns out. I'm not too worried about the inside down here because my daughter does want to wrap this car a completely different color. So let's see what happens. All right, let's get this first coat of primer on there. Primer filler. All right, we're gonna say good for the first coat. We'll come back and give it a nice thick second coat. Hey, YouTube, what's up? Sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself. Didn't press record on the video while I was spraying the base color. I put the first coat on. It's very, very light and thin. I'm gonna let it flash over and give it another coat. All right, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Lay it down. Let's start here. Get those corners in. I went along and sanded it down, a nice fine sand coat with some 800 grit, because I didn't like the way it looked after the first coat, to hopefully remove some of those scratches that I left in it after the fillable primer. So let's go ahead and give it another coat and see how it turns out. All right, so I gave it 2 thick coats after sanding it down to try to remove the scratches. You can still see some of the imperfections. I'm not a professional by far. However, I did get a bug and I tried to scratch it out of there, and obviously I freaking ruined that. But other than that, I'm not upset with the way that it turned out. This is before clear coat, so I'm scared of the rain. It's looking like it's gonna rain up there today. So I am not going to apply the clear right now. I'll get back to you guys tomorrow and put that clear on.